And let me go to share screen. Oh, well, today, we're going, as advertised, we're going to talk about what I'm calling the guidelines of composition and being creative in what you do. I like to say guidelines instead of rules, because there's a lot of the rule. If it's a rule, you're going to be thinking about it too much. And there are times when you don't want to follow those rules. But let me ask you, or ask in your head, why are you a photographer? What are you using photography for? You can use it to document things. Anytime my wife gives me a shopping list, I take a picture of it with my iPhone, because if she gives me a paper copy, I'll lose it. It can be historic, civil events, which kind of ties in with journalistic, be historic or journalistic. What else can we use photography for? Or anybody want to tell me why they're in our group and doing photography? Anyone?
I'm for the hobby part.
Yeah, I think the hobby and recreational fits our group about 99%, and I'm sure we all also do family, friends, or relatives. And
it also helps get you out of the house.
Yeah.
yeah. So in order to use the guidelines of composition, you have to understand humans first. So that's the end of my presentation. So I've talked about this before, and it's as important. This is very important to never forget when you're, especially you're looking through a viewfinder, and you're still, even when you're looking through a camera, you're seeing as a human being. And so you have what's on the left there, your vision, bam, hits the target. That's where your focus is. The camera sees, like on the right, it sees a bunch of targets all over the sensor. So just remember that when you're looking. Don't get tied up in, oh yeah, I want to get into one aspect of the picture and forget the rest. Anyone have a comment on that? Okay, so what do we mean by creative? Well, Amy's not here, but Amy created this, and I had lots of samples to pick from, and that are very creative. But when Amy told me she wasn't going to be here today, I decided to use hers. So creative photography, when we're trying to be creative, there's lots of things we can do. We got something we want to take a picture of. You can shoot it from different angles, or you could maybe study the light and decide which angle looks best. You can play with shapes and figures and forms, but all of these to create what is in your mind, and the only mind that's important is in your mind, is a work of art. And and photography, it's a good hobby. I think hobby and or recreation, like I said before, fits about everybody in this group. And they say that age is not a barrier to learning photography. Let's go with that for now. And it doesn't matter what you have for equipment here, your iPhone or anything else will go. Now, when you Google what are the rules of composition and or as I like to say, the guidelines, and a lot of that, it helps with the creativity, but so they're really guidelines for being creative. But I've added rule number 1 is if it's not broken, don't fix it. In other words, you can compose a picture that doesn't follow any rules and any guidelines, excuse me, and be a winner. But you've all heard the rule of thirds. If anyone doesn't or want to know more about it, speak up, but we've covered that quite a few times. Symmetry, for me, is a little bit hard to define. I think I just seem to feel it when I see it. It's kind of like balance, left and right, top, bottom, or angles. Compose people intentionally. This is a tough one with families and or friends or groups of friends, is you want to get pictures representing the group. And as soon as you start to do that, they line up in short row, tall row, standing like wooden soldiers. And then you can combine lots of rules. You can have diagonals, leading lines, rule of thirds, horizon line, all in the same picture. So, and Kevin had mentioned color, and that's a good thing to bring up. Robin really understood color, and she would really be the person to present that. But Lawrence creates panoramics, and he does a great job with that. And I think we've all tried to shoot textures and pattern photos. And what they mean by high and low angles is getting down on the ground or shooting at an angle that people wouldn't expect. So, well, let's go. We're going on a walkabout. And what I did is I scrolled through our Facebook page back to November and picked out, just pasted in from Facebook, a photo that I wanted to say something about. And I didn't put the name with it on purpose, because I hope by now I forgot who took the picture, because for each one, I'm going to talk about it in terms of composition and creativity, my opinion of that. And that also, this is a good chance for people that disagree with me to jump in, but one at a time. If you disagree with me, oh yeah, that's the end of the slideshow. Okay, let's close that. I said, that's the end, buddy. I can't get it to end, get it to go away. All right, now here we go. All right. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about creativity and the guidelines, this is one of the most creative pictures from our group that I've seen in a long time. And I would guess that when the person took this, they just saw it and they liked it and they shot it.
That was me, yeah.
Okay, am I right so far?
Absolutely. I sat in my car and looked up, and that's what I saw, and I jumped out and took about several pictures. It was just the other day in a parking lot.
Okay, so now that you've done that, which was a great thing, that's being ready to shoot and take the picture, I think is part of creativity.
Mhm.
Now, when you think about the guidelines of composition, what do you see there?
Rule of thirds a little bit. The trunk is kind of, the intersection of the branches is kind of on the right third.
Yes, yes, it is.
But the branches go all different ways.
Yeah,
That
They
makes it
do.
interesting.
But it draws from all four corners, draws you in. And you've got an S curve, you've got diagonals. You've got silhouetting, which I'm glad this is silhouetted.
Mhm.
So
Right.
like I said, I picked this one as the first one to show because I was pretty convinced that this was a spur of the moment shot, so to speak. I know there's got to be a better term for it, but
No, it was
all know what I'm-
exactly.
now I don't know who did this, but
I did.
Yeah.
That's it.
I really did. I did not, Barbara, I really did not, couldn't remember. I didn't know this was yours.
Yeah,
That is, if
Isn't that your
I wouldn't have-
grandson?
I wouldn't have put them so close together, but
yeah.
this one is, to me, a just absolutely compelling, killer street shot, street photography.
Yeah.
This would definitely be a photo in a book.
Thank you.
I was really drawn to it.
Good.
So, and I don't know if you were thinking about it, but I say it follows the rule of thirds. Yeah, he's a little bit to the left of the rule, but he's not in the center. I like having the negative space on the left,
Mhm.
the expression, the background. There's just so much good to say about this. The way the light's coming in from the side,
Mhm.
that is amazing.
Thank you.
I think this is John Boland,
Mhm.
and I suppose you could squirm and follow something about rules, but no, this is again one of the pictures that you got the shot and it's awesome type picture.
Mhm.
I like the perspective where with the lady standing there. Without the lady standing there, that thing could have been 12 feet tall for all you knew, right?
Mhm.
So, or some much smaller than it is, appears. So I like the colors too. It's just a nice shot. Now I know this one is also from John Boland, and I thought, I don't know what kind. I don't want to stretch my mind to find a rule here, but it's really creative and I like it. Now, part of the reason is he was able to get it with that white wall,
Yeah.
which so we talk about rules of composition, keeping it simple, flow, minimalism. So this kind of has all that, and you do have that line going across where the things intersect. But again, John Boland took this, and I could be wrong. I wish he was here with us. That he wasn't thinking any of that when he saw that. He just says, "I got to get that picture," right?
And you can, he's lying there because his phone is plugged into the charger in the wall. You can see the cord.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's resting.
Mhm.
Now here's an example. There's two big rule guidelines of composition in this picture, and extremely well done. What would those two be?
Rule of thirds.
Definitely rule of thirds.
And I like the contrast in the open space on the right.
Yes. Oh, that's a second one. Yeah. depth of field, about
blurring
depth of field and
background.
the background.
Yeah, blurring the background.
One
Yeah.
subject.
So, yeah, one subject.
This could be used for an advertisement because you've got room on the right for them to write something.
like
Mhm.
hay fever medicine.
Mhm.
The, okay, since this one is really, really good. I'm not sure I remember who did this, but it's really good. And because we see so much good in it, I have to think, okay, what would make it better? And I'm not even certain unless I see it, I can only think of one thing, and that would be a little bit more vignette. But it might turn out not to work. This is one of those things that you don't know till you see it. But that's the only thing that came to mind.
Well, I was gonna darker pink or bright big spot on there, and that may be a little bright with everything else up there in that corner.
You come out over here? Well, you can't see my finger, can you? I'll show you my finger. Hang on a second. What happened? Where are my slides? Come on. There we, no, I wasn't doing slideshow. I already did that. I was doing Lightroom. And which picture was I at?
It's up higher, second row on the far left.
There we go.
Yeah, that big pink spot, a little bit bright for that, everything else, that touch or taste rather.
Yeah, this spot would be, because
That one there.
there's
Yeah.
hardly anything you can do with it. So, but then in a way, it kind of highlights this leaf. So I can see some good in that too. And maybe this section, if it was, well, you got some over here, maybe just this top part kind of trimmed down. So it's kind of symmetrical with this. I don't know, really got to stretch yourself to think of something here. But we already talked about Amy's. But since we're on Amy's, what do you see in this? Give me at least three things you see what she did here.
Repeating pattern.
Yeah,
Yeah, the symmetry,
symmetry, definitely.
Texture.
leading lines.
Leading lines.
The sky's kind of in the upper third, the skyline.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
It's
looks like a blanket over the hill.
the I think now I would, if I was grading this, it would obviously get 100. But if I was doing it, there's very little I would change except maybe make this grass section just a shade darker.
Mhm.
And again, I wouldn't know until I tried it.
Remove the tree, because I think that's a distraction.
Yeah, but I just thought that would be hard to remove. And it is lined up in thirds. Now, I'm willing to guess that Amy had a lot of this consciously or subconsciously in her mind after doing photography for 72 years. So
Mm,
I don't know who did this one, but this is very artistic, very,
Beautiful.
very
Doug
creative.
Bucklew, perhaps.
Who
Huh?
did?
Perhaps Doug Bucklew.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I intentionally didn't bring the names over, so I won't feel guilty saying whatever I think about it. But that looks like something Doug would do, that's for sure. And it's extremely well done. And I guess the main thing is symmetry and the diagonal that, and the rule of thirds with the, what do you call that blue thing? The parts of the flower.
Yeah.
Anybody else see anything in that I missed?
Well, the
Yeah, I like
focus
it
is
when it's
directly
showing
on,
the back of the flower. It's really the branch going into the flower really highlights the flower more, as opposed to seeing the front.
Uh-huh,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
yeah.
And the texture, oh my gosh.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Okay, so we'll give Doug the credit for this.
Well,
Uh,
I can thank you for giving Doug the credit. I feel honored to be compared to Doug.
Why didn't you speak up?
That's Kevin, that's Kevin.
This is Kevin's. Wow,
Kevin.
it's so good. We thought it was a bucklu.
Mhm.
Hey, Kevin, what camera did you use for that?
I used my Sony. I used my 100 to 400, and I'd have to look into it, but
Okay,
It's pretty
now,
good.
this one is from
I don't know.
uh,
I haven't seen it.
Anthony Cooksey. I remember that. I think I'm correct in that. And what's your first what's everybody think when they see this?
The lines draw you into it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's my analysis. One is the only symmetry is from left to right down the middle of the picture. The leading lines take you way out of the picture. And so in many ways, this is another one of those where I doubt if there was any thought of following any rules of composition on this. And even though when I look at it, and then am I going left or am I going right? But I really like this. And I thought it was a good example of seeing things differently.
Mhm.
And you can remember now, he saw that differently. When you see something differently, don't be afraid to take the picture. And sometimes this has happened to me. I look at it and boy, in my mind, I say, oh, I've got to get this. I've just have created what this should look like as a photo. And then when I bring it into my computer, it's not anything like I thought it was going to be. But then some of them turn out to be awesome. So at least one of them did, Alan. I'm not.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is great composition. The bokeh, the blurred background, the backlighting on the leaves. Anyone want to take credit for this?
Yeah, it's mine.
Beautiful.
Oh, great.
Alan? Oh, Alan, that's you?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it. I remember talking about it when we saw it before.
This is a
Any-
small section of a larger picture.
Whoops.
that was over at our trip to the gardens, wasn't it?
No, that's at Descanso Gardens.
Yes, I mean, the Descanso Gardens, yeah.
And you've also got this natural flow and diagonals, which I really like. I'm a big fan of having some sort of diagonal, which in a way kind of adds to a three-dimensional quality.
Mm.
I thought this was cool. And I don't know who, but I have no memory of who did this one, but I liked it. Nobody in this group, huh?
I did it.
Linda?
It's mine.
This is good.
Wow.
This is good.
I was thinking of you guys when I was working on it. You know, I
Oh, we're old and dried up.
oh, oh my God.
Come on.
No. But how you can take something so simple and do something with it,
Yeah,
you know.
it's great.
Yeah. No, you did really, really great job on that. And again, the way the line, you've got the three main leaves, so you've got threes, you've got a nice diagonal, you got rule of thirds on the right.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, I love the background matches and highlights the leaf itself.
Yes.
To me,
good
that's
point.
really well done there.
Mm.
Yeah. Larry's got a good point there. The tendency would be on something like this to put a blurry background, but this just worked out perfect. The texture and stuff, I guess, goes with the leaf.
Wow,
Uh,
thank you.
Now, of course, with I wanted to include one from Paul Martini, and you might as well just throw darts at a board to decide which one to use. So I basically came one of the first ones I came to, and he's so creative. He's so good at this astrophotography. And I think one of the reasons I picked this is just for the creative part of lining up this rock with that, whatever you want to call it, with the light of the stars there. Is anybody else see anything else they like about it? Who doesn't like it? Speak up now. I'm going to write your name down.
I'm just wondering if that light over on the far left was a galaxy that he photoshopped into it. Doesn't that look like a spinning galaxy out there?
Yeah.
A little too close for comfort.
He didn't use any flashlights to do all that light that he had there on the rock.
Yeah. He's probably got a flashlight behind that rock. He does that a lot. And he's using a flashlight on the front of the rocks too. Otherwise, they'd just be black like the rest of the mountain. So
Right,
he's lighting that up.
using light painting.
Mhm.
And Kevin, you're right. That section is kind of weird. You look on the right, there's also a little bit of kind of weirdness there. So I don't know.
I understand the weirdness, but for some reason just that one spot
Yeah.
way to the left, that just bright thing, it just kind of looks, to me, I don't know what else it would be. I mean,
Well, we'll have to ask Paul when he's in town. This one here just jumps out at me. Now I remember Alan took these, but
Yes.
again, just like, oh, you walked in the store, you didn't make an appointment, you didn't research him for 3 months, you didn't bring lighting equipment,
Right.
you just made a wrong turn and ended up in this store.
I walked by the store and I could see the light shining in on all of these things that they had made. And it just stood out at me.
Wow.
For me, the series that you took, they're the kind of pictures. Who cares about the guidelines or things? The picture's just really nice.
Thank
Good
you.
color. Now, is this you? I believe this was Larry, right?
Yes.
Okay, that the picture is awesome, the minimalistic, but I think the angle I would have liked to have seen. Well, I don't know how natural that would look. Maybe that wouldn't be right over. Okay, forget the angle for a moment. Let's
Well,
see.
I'm standing on my bad knees, so I'm not too choosy on the angle there.
Well, that's still pretty good. Can you, maybe I would have cropped just a little bit off the top and a little bit off the bottom.
I threw a little vignette in there, I believe.
Yeah, I can see that. Whoops. God. These mice don't know how to behave. Okay, so, and the other would be to consider, we're trying to talk today just about when you're out taking the picture. So I don't really want to talk anything post-processing other than cropping. But in post-processing, it might be something to make that background a little more appealing. This one is very simplistic, but you know what, in my mind, makes it great is the people walking form this diagonal line on the beach. That really makes that picture. If there were no people in this picture would not get your attention. This photograph, and the horizons lined up about right. So now I have no idea who took this. Maybe they're not here. Okay.
I think it was John Boland.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was John Boland. Too bad he's not here today. So, and this one, when I did it this way, I should have brought the title on this one, because we taught, one of the guidelines we talked about was the use of color. And the person that took this seems to have a good grasp of that. Who took this picture?
Me,
Catherine.
I think.
that's me. Yeah.
Mm.
Can you tell? Okay, so tell us, give us a 1 minute lesson in color here.
I see it as the blue is kind of the dominant, and this is the recessive, or is it the other way around? But the contrast of the colors
Mm.
was what I noticed
Mm-hmm.
after I looked at it. I was just trying to get I had the rule of three ducks. And then when I was going through them, I saw that this one, the green came out versus the other photos that I took.
Oh, this is pretty good. You've got the threes, you've got that color composition wise. I mean, it's balanced. It has balance to it. We didn't use that word before, but it is a feeling you can get from pictures.
Nice.
You go on, there's one thing I noticed on that previous one is it
I've
looks
gotta
like
go.
the
Okay.
duck is shadowed. Is that a shadow on the left side there from the duck in the middle?
Shadow on the
Okay.
left side. Yeah,
A shadow on the water?
yeah. I think
That
so.
looks- Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. That was a shadow or a reflection,
Yeah,
not a reflection, a shadow.
Probably a shadow of the stick.
Could be.
yeah. Well, anyhow,
Wow.
this is a great. This is very appealing, and somebody else gonna have to say something else, because I just looked at it and liked it. Never thought about anything else.
Contrast is really nice.
Yeah, really grabs you, the pattern.
That water is just amazing.
Yeah, oh, I like the action of the duck obviously shaking his head in the water and making the
Yeah.
splashes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Did anybody know who did this one?
Kevin or John Moorhank, I think.
Oh, you're right. This was John Moorhank. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's starting to put up some good stuff.
Sure
Um,
is.
Now, this is when we were talking about family photography. reasons. I know this. I know that Doug took this picture. And again, breaking down the guidelines, if you're going to be shooting animals or people, then the number one rule in composition is the eyes have to be in focus. Whoops. And so Doug Bucklew took this and he nailed the eyes, and he understands the plane of focus very well. So everything about this long lost relative is extremely sharp focus, and the background is soft.
Mm.
So I can't get, and he had two of this monkey on this branch, and he's not here for this to mean anything except maybe to him. But of the two, I preferred this one. The other one, it was further out and more of his body and a slightly different look. Oh, I think this is Doug too, and I thought of it as an example of being creative. You know, he didn't call them 3 weeks in advance and say what day he wanted this lady there with the dog and what time of day, and then have $300,000 worth of lighting equipment there to take this picture. This is like a drive-by picture. He saw the opportunity and he shot it. And I guess the first thing that I think that makes this good is the way it's cropped, so that the dogs have somewhere to walk to, where they're not walking into a wall. And the lighting, the bird background, it all came out good.
I like the lighting on the dogs.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit of backlighting, but or side to back, but there's enough in front that they're not silhouetted. And if Lawrence is still here, I know that Lawrence took this, and I'm guessing it's a panorama.
Yes, it had to be.
Wow.
Lawrence, leave.
And
Yeah,
all
I think
those,
so.
all those people underneath, it's just great. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, this
And
is
that place is closed underneath now. You can't get that picture now.
Oh,
oh,
Wow.
really? Okay. Well, that's a good one, and you're right. This one is Anthony Cooksey again. I remember that, and unfortunately he's not with us today. But on one hand, the concept he has here is very artistic and awesome, but he needs I gotta use my mouse, not my finger. Here, I don't like the fact that this cut off. This should have been in Photoshop easily fixed. And so along this whole edge, I don't like the way it's cut off, or at the bottom. And the reason I would say that much about it is it's so great that I just don't want to toss it in the wastebasket. And I don't know, oops, I'm looking at you. And I don't know if he was stuck with that crop with the way he shot it, or not knowing any of that.
it could be moved to the right and up a little bit,
Yeah,
and
that's,
then get everything almost.
yeah. So
Oh,
this is awesome. I don't know who did this. I really can't remember now who took this. And I think, is this John Warhag?
yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure. It was one of our group did this. Maybe it was Kevin, but it was
I think
during
it was
the
John.
rain. Huh?
I think it was John.
Yeah,
John? Okay. Yeah, this is when we're trying to capture the rain, and that's very, very good. And pattern, texture, diagonals are all there. So very well composed. All right. That's the last of the ones that you guys did. Now, what time is it? Do we have time?
We've got about 10 minutes.
All right, okay, I'm gonna spend about 10 minutes. The rest of them are pictures I did. So you guys just jump in and say what you think.
I like it.
It's that bad that nobody can say anything, not even Gas?
Oh, no, it's very nice, and it's cool to have the expression on the face of the young man in front.
Yeah, yeah.
The background is good.
I'd
Yeah.
like to see it cropped a little on both sides.
I think a little background is good to
Yeah.
their space. And it's not distracting space, it's kind of blurred.
Alan, I think cropping off here makes sense. But if I
Okay.
did, I'd add a little more on the right. so
Okay,
it fits with the way they're going. You see
I
what I
can see
mean?
that.
Oops, here. Okay, so the next one,
Mm.
what can you say other than what a, that is so cute. This was
Oh.
at the farmer's market in Orange, city of Orange. And I saw this boy with the dog, and so I took my life in my hands and got down to knee level.
Mm.
Okay,
And the boy saw I was shooting the dog, or shooting the picture of him with the dog. So he gave me I took about 5 pictures as he moved around. I
Mm.
like this one best. And if I could go back and fix this a little bit, the dog had had surgery, so there was no hair. There was a section here with no hair. So I did some cloning and moving some hair over there, but it's not quite as smooth as it could be.
yeah, but it's not distracting.
No,
Yeah, that's not.
I look at the faces first. I don't even,
Yeah, that's good.
And the face and the dog are well lit.
yeah.
So here, this was in Melbourne, in a section of Melbourne, and this is the black and white version. I guess for this class, I should have did the color, but it's the same building. And I took at least 4 pictures of this building, more to the right, more to the left. But this is where the light, and I of course would not know this 100% till I put it in the computer, but this gave the best perspective of the building and the flow of light. I liked it. So
My question would be, how did they get the graffiti way up on top?
that's a good one, but they do it. The night crew does it, I think.
Uh-huh.
And you know it's Melbourne because the car is on the wrong side of the street.
Oh,
Mm. Yeah, this one I took in Cuba, and there's the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is correct on this one because not from when I shot it, but in post-processing, I've got the grid on my screen and I lined it up, and it really did. It looked best lined up with that grid. So and I like the color balance. And the guys, how the guy's poking himself in the eye.
Yeah, you're also showing that he's missing a leg, so you can see the cane or stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
To help.
yeah. This is one of my favorite ones. And this also is from Cuba. And here you got 3s. You got rule of thirds, minimalism on the left and right, color, a lot of color, and something unique about it.
just the way the fella in the center has his hands positioned makes it interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
You have the rule of 4s there because of the guy on the drawing on the right,
Yeah,
which is cute because he's actually reaching over to him.
so, and this is also in Cuba, and I probably overdid it. I think Amy says I did. I overdid it on making the colors pop, but they were there. Like, oh, wow, look what I can do.
Yeah, I like it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's all 5 of them. Remember, we have an odd number. All 5 of them are totally different in the color scheme with each of them. So
Uh-huh.
anyhow, so this one, I included it. It's not necessarily a picture I'm going to be putting in a gallery or anything, but the angles that I could shoot this at and get these repeating the patterns and repeating angles and lines, it was very, very tempting. And I think I may have already done this. I may have done this where, oh, come on, Mousy. Oh. I think I might have made a version where I cropped it here to get rid of this non-fitting unit. Doesn't work. But I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. Okay, we talked about rule of thirds. There was 3 in a row. Okay, this one, the rule of thirds practically goes through the main. Yeah, it's close to here. This mass. This is close. This is close to the other one, if not beak. The eye is sharp. You can see, and I've left room. I'm not having her fly into a wall.
It's impressive because of it's in focus, even though it's an action shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually shoot birds at least 1500ths of a second, sometimes faster, 4000s. And this is the one I took in the Fullerton Arboretum. And to me, what's appealing about it is the colors.
Contrast.
The contrast, the colors are contrasting, and the background has got a really nice blur to it. That may be all the ones I was going to do. Let me hit the. Yep. That is the end of my presentation. And so let me hit stop recording.